Hey everybody, this is Rydo and we're back to Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel doing the solo stuff. So, in an effort to not spend too much time playing off screen in between recordings, I didn't quite succeed at getting everything clear on these last two ones, but I did get everything done on the solo player deck challenge. So, let's hop into the next in line as far as new content. And if these all turn out to be about as short as the fairies who paint the weather, we might get this all done in one recording. Of course, maybe they won't be that short, and then they will or they might unlock more content. And I have no idea. Like I could do these three and unlock seven more, for all I know. That's kind of how it worked before. Is that you would do two solo player things and it would unlock a gate, and then unlocking a gate would unlock new content. So the Herald's Guidance. Heralds deploy effects from both the hand and the field with the ability to deter opponents' actions. They light the way to an ordained destination. This definitely feels like more of a thematic concept than a gameplay mechanic concept. And I would say Yu-Gi-Oh! Probably leans a little bit too much into thematic concepts, in which they'll come out with an expansion. It will just be cards that visually look different and maybe have some synergy with cards of that same expansion, but they don't introduce an overarching gameplay mechanic that can last the test of time. For instance, if Yu-Gi-Oh came out with a bug expansion and they were just showing off bugs, and then specific bug cards interacted with other bug cards, that really wouldn't last to stay the for a long amount of time. But if they came out with a bug expansion and they had a bunch of cards that said for all type of insect type cards out there, you gain plus one attack, or they gain plus one 100 attack points, that's where you would have a more long running thing. Or link summoning, pendulum summoning. Those are concepts that were introduced at some point in an expansion, but are at least lasting a little bit longer than that expansion. We'll watch the scenario and start off by getting a couple of rare cards, three copies of the same rare card. The Herald's Guidance. The thing that's irritating to me about these stories, though, is that they really don't connect to the previous stories. And so now we've just seen a bunch of single player stories that don't really make a narrative. Uh, the rule of the gods has ended, and humans have ruled the earth for many years. In this version of the story, but in other versions of solo player stories, we've totally seen gods show up, or godlike creatures show up. Though many gods had fled, many people continue to believe that the gods watched over the world even as their visages changed. In a remote domain on a distant continent, gods have long been worshipped by the people living there. It was a god that spread its wings and emitted a blinding light from their entire body, the herald. It's interesting here they use a capital G for God here, because Christians would argue that you only use a capital G for the Christian God. Although the Japanese, I imagine, don't have a clue and did not intentionally translate it with a capital G any more than they just thought it would always be a capital for proper noun reasons. Among those living there, a few have seen or even heard the voice of the herald. Now, I would also say a god being a herald is weird, because usually a herald is the thing before the god shows up. It's the thing telling you that the god is coming. Though the depictions differed, the atmosphere about it and its afterglow was precisely that of an angel they'd pictured in their minds, they told. And according to those who had heard its voice, it hadn't actually made a sound. The meaning of the words came out not through their ears, but directly into their minds, they told. And when they asked if they'd seen or heard the herald, their replies were eerily consistent. I assume here you're going to just have like a red, green, blue character that merges together into multicolored. It was always in moments of confession that it appeared. They assert they fainted soon after, but awoke with a comforting feeling of forgiveness throughout their bodies. Some find it hard to believe these people's stories. Nonetheless, the herald is worshipped by many people. That was a very generic story. Didn't really get into what would be different about the different colors of the herald. Didn't really get into what kind of abilities it would have. And there's not like a lot of animation there either compared to the fairy one we looked at before. Now maybe this is a solo thing that was added in that first wave of Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel, and the fairy expansion was added later, and they're just kind of out of order now. The herald in purple light. Interesting. But yeah, I would like a little bit more if you're gonna make me read a story like that instead of just telling me a paragraph of the beginning of a story and then having me do two things to get another paragraph at the ending of a story. There is potentially an argument here that it may not be as fun, but it might be a heck of a lot more informative if they just very coldly had someone explain to you the cards and talk about that. If they had, say, a famous streamer that they just hired to be the educator on the cards and go into long detail and explain how cards of a certain class work and such, that might be way better. Say, for instance, Day 9 might be a great uh, character to pick out of that, if to have him just hire him to be the instructor, uh, instead of hiring writers to write paragraphs of filler text. There are many herald monsters that allow you to negotiate the opponent's effect by sending fairy-type monsters from your hand to the graveyard. Although this is very powerful, take care to use it in moderation, as it can burn through your hand very quickly. It's best to use them only to negate effects that will land you in difficult positions. Focus your strategies around Herald of Ultimateness or Herald of Perfection cards that can negate many different types of effects. Right? Ritual Summon Herald of Ultimateness. Okay, so Ritual Summoned by playing this, and I imagine tossing this second copy to give you 12 stars. And of course, what we just did there seems super easy, but would be really, really hard in actual play. You'd have to get lucky. Herald of Ultimates can put a stop to a special summon and negate the effects of various cards. End your turn. Activates a spell card or a monster effect. This guy has only 3 cards to start with and 2,000 life, so once again, this is more of a scenario than a real game. Negate the spell card your opponent activated. So activate this effect, which then makes me send that to the graveyard. Now, unless there was some synergy to bring that back out of the graveyard, I'm kind of in trouble. Or I would be if he didn't have 2000 and he have exactly 2000 attack. And in this case, you would really want to summon this, but instead we'll attack. That way, if he tries to activate some trick, could discard it. Which really, there should have been a trick there. There should have been something else that had happened. And that's just complete. You can't do that practice with your own deck. So now it wants us to use the loner deck to get heralded green light, which it would also seem like this expansion is fairly simplistic and only about heralds, where it seemed like in the old days there were expansions that would have a team and a B team. You would have good guys and bad guys fighting each other in an expansion. It doesn't really feel like that's the case here. Uh, let's just hop into the game. This may give me no help at all, so we may just have to play after learning one concept. Herald of the Heavens is the name of this deck that the opponent's playing. So it really does feel like you're just going to be playing Herald versus Herald. That might be better for educational purposes. Um, Ritual monsters. Try that again and see if we're just going to end up causing him to run out of cards. Toss that. I mean, we've already got 12, so it would make sense to just take this. But I need the spell, which this can give me. And seems like this is the one to use. Summon that. Toss that. Now, unless there's some kind of crazy combination here, I don't think you would do that. And it looks like we just have a game going now. And we'll toss this. Can I? Must be ritual summoned. So tossing this is the best use of that card. Because summoning it for it to be a 0/0 just to then summon a level 1 light monster in your graveyard is not helpful. And the hope, of course, is going to be that that was the only thing I needed to counter. So what does this do? Yeah, basically nothing. If we were to... Hmm. 800, 1850 probably wouldn't be too bad. Yeah, let's try this. This one and this one. Let's see. You can add one line 50 more from your deck to your hand. You can only use this effect once per turn. Okay. Hmm. What does this do? See if this works. Shuffle cards to then summon something like this. Hmm. Hmm. I guess we're slowly making progress. Do we want to do something big? Bigger? Hmm. Hmm. Let's see if we do that one and that one. Hmm. It feels like at this point I'm just accomplishing a lot with all the possibilities, but much of what I'm doing is just being cautious and not particularly in line with what I'm supposed to be learning, because this was not a solo player element around the idea of link summoning. Not getting anywhere very fast. Okay. Do I want to do 4? Probably. With this one taking it as 2, and this one counting as 2. Hmm. Do I want to then do 3? Let's see. Yeah, what does any of this really have to do with anything? I mean, I'm just link summoning like crazy here. Very, very little of that had to do with the fact that I ritual summoned a herald and countered one effect. Almost nothing had to do with that. So much so that I could literally just jump in here and play with my Zodiac Tri Brigade and almost certainly win that challenge also. We might hit a point where I run into a gate that's locked and I don't have enough resources, but I seriously doubt that will ever actually be the case. Again, I imagine this is just going to be another challenge. The cards will be slightly better in the opponent's deck, and the cards in my deck will be more complicated to use. But man, it seems very ridiculous. Okay. We set that and we see if that gets all right. Activate this one. So what do I want to stick in the graveyard? I've just got all these cards that you can set as trap cards. Hmm. There's something here that is particularly good that you would want in the graveyard. I don't think so, so I'm just gonna play middle of the road and send that to the graveyard. Go ahead and set that. And then in the turn. Hmm. So ideally I would have wanted more of those on the field. But that's about the only time you actually would want Harpree's Feather Duster to be activated. Hmm. Let's see what else they do. Because they're clearly playing a crazy strategy. Hmm. Hmm. I kind of need them to set a face down trap card. Because I need to be able to activate this. And if I can't activate this, then I can't activate this unless he gets rid of all of his cards in his hands. And honestly, if even if he has two in his hands, it's still a problem. So unless he just doesn't have a fairy type monster in his hand. Um, set this or tribute summon. Right, so there's two versions of set here. They probably need a different word. We have to risk it, and we have to see if he can counter it, which he can. Hmm. So it feels like his strategy probably is outplayed my strategy. So I probably have lost here, unless there's something special about this character that he can't attack or won't attack. And even if there is something special about that, that's still gonna make it very difficult to um, do anything, because I've got to figure out a way to do damage. Otherwise, he's not gonna run out of cards. Well, he might, but I wouldn't suspect that he would. I definitely wouldn't want to spend the entire amount of time it would take for him to draw another 25 cards. Hmm. See if this works. Oh, look at that. We may have it. He doesn't have anything else I think he can do with these two cards. For the moment, at least. Not that I have too much I can do. So it's now just a race to see if we can do enough damage. Player damage here. Life point damage. So now we have two things synergizing. What would this summon? Probably not anything strong enough to justify doing that. Hmm. Yeah, it looks like we're going to win here, but how much of what I'm doing here is really teaching me about Herald specifically versus just learning about specific cards? Let's see. Just keep on bringing things back to the field. But unless there was something I needed to special summon to defeat this one character, like I could special summon just the same things as before. So very dull success here. Just attack, attack, attack. Hmm. Suppose this is a problem with being good at anything in general, is that if you're even slightly above average in an educational setting, it will be so easy that there won't be any challenge and you won't learn anything new. But boy, does that feel like that was the case with all of these challenges, is that the enemy's not really throwing any new concepts at me. I'm not randomly going to find new concepts. I'll see a couple of new cards. After doing these three battles, if you ask me how many cards came out in this expansion pack, I'd probably suppose it was about 12 at most. Although, if you were to make a collectible card game in the real world, and each expansion pack really had only 8 new cards, and you just had to buy one pack of the expansion pack to get one copy of each of the new cards, so 3 packs in general, that'd be interesting. Um, I don't know if there's any real reason for that. What I imagine should happen is they if people are going to continue to play collectible card games, they should probably have to buy them directly printed from the manufacturer of the card instead of blind bags and blind packs in stores. I add one ritual. Let's see if we can do this. Discard a spell card, which I'll go with this one. And we're looking for think this will work. Nope. Didn't work. See how this works. Okay. We need something that was an attack of 1800. That was an attack of 4000. So that was quite an expensive trade I just made. And we'll just have to hope that we can bring that back out of the graveyard. Meanwhile, we'll toss this card to negate that, since that's the only thing we can really do anyways. Hmm. Hmm. Okay, then summon this. Would there be a better reason to summon things? Hmm. Hmm. Well, let's attack first and then see if we get lucky here. We didn't. And then let's summon this. At least it's stronger. And then that lets me summon back this one, which I definitely want these two first. And I imagine nothing better to summon there. So we went around in circles, but it's probably worth it. And I don't think we can do anything with that. We'll just win by 300 attack points per turn if we have to. He may not have anything else he can really do. This really highlights still the problem with Yu-Gi-Oh! Of all of its phases and its animations. They need to move a little bit further. Tribute one other Driton. This is not a Driton. So there's nothing really I can do. I could change that to a defensive character and inflict damage. Why did that not? Oh, Sanctuary in the Sky. So I should have changed its position because that would have probably done piercing damage. Because it wouldn't have been actually piercing damage. So he can just summon attack as long as it's a fairy and uh, be fine. So I may have lost there just by not doing the right thing that 1 second. Okay. 2000, 2000. Summon, special summons in defense position. Ritual monster. Ritual spell. Let's not be ambitious. Let's take a easier, cheaper thing. Let's try this. Again, probably not the best move, but okay. Do we have anything we can summon that is going to be close to this? Relinquished Anima. I think is our choice. Man, boy, did I not think I was going to end up playing a relinquished card. see if we can do something more there. Yeah, unfortunately, none of that helps. Like all that struggle to try and figure out a strategy, and it's not going to do anything for me. He's just going to bulldoze her over this. Hmm. Hmm. And I seriously doubt one spell card's going to save the day. We'll see. I guess what you can do is you can just keep on sacrificing your own cards as tribute to add more cards to your hand. Interesting. So, do I have the right cards? I think I might. Hmm. Okay. Is there anything more we would want to do? Let's go ahead and replace this with this. I don't see a reason not to do that. Hmm. Hmm. All right, let's see if this works. Mm. And we'll just leave it at that. He may try to attack and do 200 here, but hmm. Go ahead and just banish a card. Probably is not important to even care about what card you're going to banish. Hmm. So he just countered my counter. Hmm. Hmm. We have pathetically now gotten down to two 500 attack creatures. Alright, let's see if we can do something more here. What does this one do? Hmm. Hmm. Alright, that doesn't seem too bad. What else can we do? Oops, that was not what I meant to do. Hmm. Oh, so now I've taken control of his character, so it makes a lot of sense to get rid of his character one way or the other. I should have said yes before to that question. This is a lot of gameplay still. Hmm. I gain life points equal to half of whatever I control. Sure. And then we have a 2400 here. We select that. That would be that and that. Hmm. Oops. Should have figured out better what that card did. Well, that was stupid on my part. I'm dragging this game out more. Summon this. Activate this. Start with this. Tribute that, I guess. Activate a card, bring it to my hand. Activate another one of these. Hmm. Now we've got two of these cards. Hmm. And apparently that stopped me from being able to do that or anything else. Okay. Well, that was a mistake. Hmm. Although, in all fairness, this probably would have only let me summon a fairly weak monster anyways. And this guy just has no cards to play, which is highly unlikely to happen in real world play. Send to the graveyard. Yeah, just someone else to the graveyard. Let's see what that does. Seriously. Hmm. Cards to banish. I It gives me another card to bring to the hand. Wow, this is a great example of not understanding the strategy at all. Just going all over the place with activating effects that are just moving characters around and killing characters. Like, if I knew what I was doing, I'd almost certainly win. Have won by now. Gain some health. Is there something that a foolish burial would benefit from? Hmm. Think I just screwed up my opportunity yet again. 600, 1,600. Take that. Take that. Hmm. I don't think this is going to work too much, but whatever. We'll see what happens. Hmm. Gain some life. Same type and attribute. Should just be this and this. Oh man, I'm putting in way too much work. Just trying everything out to see what would happen. Hmm. 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 I guess that's how this would go, though. For most cases, is that you would just end up have having somebody play along, and you just have to do everything once to figure out if the things that you need to do are helpful or not. Hmm. Either you play 10 games not really knowing how to play, or you play one long game not knowing how to play. This is kind of a great example of what you would do normally if you had the cards in front of you, as you would just run the scenarios in your head. Um, except for you're doing it in a digital factor that actually kind of slows things down. But it also gives you a competitor, so you don't have to just imagine every scenario. digital versions of card games definitely create a different type of experience than just having um, weekly Yu-Gi-Oh games. Even if you spend 5-6 hours once a week playing Yu-Gi-Oh, you could easily spend more than that playing online. Like you could do 2-3 hours every single day, and that would be 21, 21 hours a week if you don't take the weekends off. That was painful, frankly, just because it was wasting so much time. And once again, none of these duels really taught me anything about the idea of heralds. I don't even really remember the main gimmick. It seems like it's just that heralds counter and negate things, and that's it. And we're done at this point. Just finish the story. We're still getting that weird visual effect that they put in the corner. I think Konami is doing that on purpose to track it if it's streamed or something. But I don't know. I've been streaming Yu-Gi-Oh for a while, and I haven't seen anybody complain or YouTube claim any of the videos. In the frontier, the herald is enshrined in a temple. As for when the temple was constructed, nobody knows. But it is old but well maintained and has a sacred, solemn atmosphere about it. Hmm. However, depending on who you ask, the structure may have an unusual aura about it. It appears not to have been built as a place of worship, but to contain something merely covered up as a shrine. Hmm. The central part is hidden, and it is said there's a god statue. There are god statue inside. And into that inner sanctum, only a select few priests or diviners are allowed. So we're already done with all the challenges, and they're going to introduce the concept of diviners. Which is weird. It's also weird that we're being shown a character instead of a card, because they've been fairly focused on showing cards even when they do show characters. The diviner of the herald, the person who receives the oracle from the herald, she claims that from a certain age she began to hear the voice. After many trials and tests, the priest determined that the voice she heard belonged to the herald. The diviner is not one who commands the people. Her role is to correctly decipher the oracles for people and protecting them from natural disasters. Her resolve, her resolute power and connection with people has helped pass along the future generations her role of diviner. I don't even understand that sentence. Her resolute power and connection with the people had helped pass along the future generations her role of diviner. Yeah, that does not feel like that's anywhere close to English, just being translated from Japanese. And the way it's phrased, it almost feels like it's a haiku being translated to English. And one girl will continue as the new diviner to connect people with the gods. And so, yeah, if you had told me these were haikus at the beginning, then that maybe would have made more sense. So gate cleared, and we find another card pack. And so we'll have to go check that secret card pack now. But let's see that it did not unlock anything more, which hopefully means that there really are only two more uh, solo player missions right now. I don't want there to be only two more for the rest of all eternity, but wouldn't be a terrible thought to be done with it for a while. This solo content is not very rewarding, and it does take a lot of time. That's all the cards included. We want to look at the featured cards. I have a few of these, not that many that it would be wrong to buy 10. So we'll spend 1,000 to buy 10 packs and cross our fingers that we get at least one super rare and ultra rare, because I'm not leaning towards getting 20, because if I do go to 20, then I'm running the risk of having to go to 30. I could do all of that certainly and I'd be fine, but I don't want to waste all of my cards. So yeah, let's open a 10 pack with 2 ultra rares at least and see if that's good enough. Hmm. I'm still not really a fan of this whole animation sequence. I don't think it's particularly as good as it could be. Hearthstone's card pack animation sequence was really to die for, and I've never seen anything quite as entertaining or exciting, even though Hearthstone's been out for more than long enough for people to generally steal that concept. Um, Although, since the last time I recorded some of these solo stories, which was a long time ago, Ben Brode, who was the guy who is definitely sold as the person in charge of Hearthstone and helped create Hearthstone for Activision Blizzard. He left Activision Blizzard a long time ago to make his own company called Second Dinner. And just recently, in the past week or so, as of this recording, he has finally been allowed to announce the Marvel crossover card game that he was working on making, and that is soon going to be in beta, called Marvel Snap. We they had definitely said he was working with Marvel to make a collectible card game, but what they showed, what Marvel announced on, um, is a very different type of collectible card game. It doesn't really have turns. Every game takes only about 3 minutes, and it very much is designed to be played on cell phones first and foremost. Uh, you have 3 monster grids only, 3 places where you put your heroes, your monsters, and for each monster you can add 4 modifiers. Uh, so at most you're going to put um, 15 cards on the field, which is also, I think, the maximum cards you can have in your deck. So it doesn't feel very strategic at all. You can only have 1 copy of the card. Um, it seems like what they've done is go out of their way to make a extremely fast uh, card collectible card game, and by doing that, they've eliminated so much that it really doesn't fall in line where it feels like a collectible card game and it feels like something very different, which is kind of a shame because I'd been saying all along that the second the Marvel collectible card game from Second Dinner came out, which it's not quite out yet, so I still may stand by this, but I probably won't. Um, I was saying that I would jump into that Marvel card game because it seemed to me like it would have been fairly a easy bet to say that any Marvel collectible card game would be very popular. And Marvel Snap may very well be very popular, but it doesn't really satisfy that itch of actually playing a collectible card game at this point. Instead, it feels much more like a very different type of experience, something that I don't know if it really would be worth experiencing. Let's see, you've got a couple of rares, you've got a couple super rares, and a couple ultra rares. Um, It would make sense probably to open another 10 pack of this, but I could also see not doing that. Let's see what the other secret packs have to offer first. Yeah, I don't think that's worth going for. I probably have seen all of the secret packs at this point, and so it probably would make a lot of sense not to go too crazy with it. Like this is definitely one not to go to. Like if I start rolling in um gems, I could see coming back and tapping secret packs more often. But yeah, I think the safe move here is to stick to that original 10 and leave it at that. Yeah. So let's, since it only took us about an hour to go through one, let's go to the next one. The Indomitable Warriors of Unwavering Loyalty. I don't know if that's the right way to spell indomitable. Maybe it is, maybe not. No matter what life or death trials await the six samurai on the battlefield, they always have each other's back. Their solidarity is what will allow them to unify the nation. So we're going to have six samurai cards, and I've seen several of those. And a completely different story in a completely different world. They kind of are on repeat, though, certainly. Being a Japanese card game, you can see that a good third of all the cards are Japanese focused. Um, and then the rest of them are certainly from the mind of somebody who grew up in Japan during a certain time, because you see all these robots, all these mechas, all these anime type characters. Um, yeah, things you would definitely would expect from a Japanese creator. The nation is embroiled in conflict as warriors fought to united under their name, and within this time of chaos, there stood one military commander who, with his wit and knowledge, came closer to achieving his goal than anyone else. He was known as to all as the great Shogun Shien. With ambition burning fiercely in his heart, he watched the world with eyes sharper than the finest blade. I don't like how this is getting brighter and then dimmer. Like that seems like a little seizure inducing, but we are getting better animation here. Again, we're not seeing cards, we're just seeing a character. Combined with charisma that allowed him to command any soldier. As a commander, he was one in a million. Whenever he donned his crimson armor and took to the battlefield to lead his troops, with the fiendish glint in his eyes, his enemies stood no chance and were lucky if they could escape. Sheehan charged through the foes, and they toppled at the slash of his sword like sticks. But although his strength was unrivaled, this era was not one where Sheehan could rule the nation by himself. His work was supported by retainers, of whom he had many, although it seems like we're specifically going to focus on the six samurai. Sorry, took a break to drink water. And this definitely feels like this is going to be a longer challenge, um, with two scenarios, a practice and a duel. Although I guess that really isn't that much longer. Clearly, though, If you were playing this on a cell phone, you'd be scrolling left and right quite a bit. So even on a PC and widescreen, I'm scrolling too much for what it's really showing. They need to figure out a better way to depict this concept. More than likely, it would be better if you turn these into bubbles and then you had just a little dot on the line, and then you would have it say like scenario down here pointing to this bubble, and then scenario here pointing to the next bubble, then scenario here pointing to the third, then practice here pointing to the fourth. You could really squish it that way very easily. Or you could just create an icon that's much smaller. So scenario would just be a tiny little book icon. Practice would be this. Just take these same icons, make them smaller on the field, and then have a legend button. Uh, so this is just going to be story, I guess. That's what scenarios are. All right. In the light of day loomed the dark figure, the shadowy towering form of Xian's castle of mist. It was from this castle that Xian ruled over his territories. But to bring his turbulent country stability, he required more than a sturdy castle. To build a nation that is truly strong and prosperous, he needed a team of sharp wits by his side. Shin employed a number of talented minds to work on his domestic affairs, his military, and even his spies. Here we have actual cards being shown, which they've already established that as being kind of the norm, so they should have probably done that always. He had hoped that this way he could begin to lay the foundation for his ideal nation. And with the help of the Grand Master of the Six Samurai, he gathered 6 elite warriors to be his personal army. He called them the Six Samurai, and together they dominated countless battlefields. It feels very familiar to say Six Samurai because I've seen plenty of cards that have Six Samurai in the name. And we still have these weird crossovers where this could easily have just been a samurai story, but they're making it a kind of cyberpunk samurai story instead. And it seems like they really just want to give you a lot of cards, so they're breaking up a story they could have told in one fell swoop into 3 sections. The Six Samurai did not only have superior fighting prowess to boast of, they also had a very strong sense of judgment and honor. They were as fearless as their stalwart hearts were strong, and nothing could shake the convictions of or the loyalty that they had for their master. Man, whenever I read this stuff, I feel like I'm just wasting everybody's time and sounding like an idiot. Um, Sounding just like sounding boring or low energy. I'm definitely not applying for any voice acting jobs ever in my life. There was a famed archer who, with the focus clear as an unrippled water, can shoot at any target once he had the sights on it. The Six Samurai Yaichi. You know what would make a lot of sense is in the Yu-Gi-Oh anime and story. Well, the original manga before it was rebooted because people were so obsessed about the card game that was shown in the original Yu-Gi-Oh story that was really supposed to just be a one-off. There were supposed to be different games, and Yugi Yamamoto was supposed to be the king of all games. Uh, but when the anime started succeeding, people really liked the card game, and they soft rebooted it to focus 100% on their card game. It created a weird universe that was already kind of weird, but it creates a different kind of weirdness where in the Yu-Gi-Oh anime world, everybody is just obsessed with playing the Yu-Gi-Oh card game more than like having jobs or careers or any other hobbies or playing any other games at all. So You could potentially say that a lot of these cards are from other games that would have existed, and they were just integrated. They were bought by Kaiba Corp, who makes most of the Yu-Gi-Oh cards, I think, and he just like became this mega conglomerate that owns all the intellectual property of the Yu-Gi-Oh world. And that would explain why there's so many cards that have different themes and feel so very different. Um, you even see evidence kind of to that fact in the Dungeon Dice Monsters uh, arc, where they try to make a different game compared to Yu-Gi-Oh, and it pretty much fails immediately. Uh, I don't know why I'm rambling at this point, though. I need to move forward. The explosive genius, who, with his bombs formulated for extra power, can blow away any army to pieces, no matter how strong their defenses. The sixth samurai Kamon, the warrior, with his honed lance in hand, can break through any enemy line. The sixth samurai Yariza, Yariza. That's probably how you pronounce it. Mm. What's funny is I have seen six samurai cards, but I've never seen anybody play a six samurai deck. I imagine most of these characters aren't really that playable. The swordsman, who with two blades of different lengths whirls through his foes like a devastating storm. The six samurai Nisashi. Hmm. Differing length swords, I suppose. Then there was the man who wielded a Naginata blade so deadly that no one who saw it flash would live to tell the tale. The six samurai Zanji. Naginata. Let's see. Naginata is basically like a spear. Hmm. Is I guess it's in his hand. Like I'm looking straight at this picture and I'm still having a hard time really figuring out whether that's a spear blade or not. It's just mixing in with the background because they do this like fog effect. So yeah, yeah. In the card, you can see that his blade is this yellow curved aspect, and they have just filtered in all of that out, and so that's not being shown. So you can kind of see they didn't really put enough care into how they depicted these characters because seeing the weapon should have been a major focus. And finally is the samurai who built quite the reputation cutting down enemies from the shadows with his long blade, the sixth samurai Iroyu. Each one of these men were the best in which they did and had their own forces uh, that they commanded skillfully. Hmm. Yep. And that's too much story, frankly. Let's get into some actual gameplay and do a practice. It's too much story, not enough action. Ideally, what I would want to see is you'd be in a practice section like this, and there would just be audio playing in the background, just continuously telling you the story as you're given instructions to play, and that hopefully the audio would kind of even parallel the narrative storyline. Audio would parallel the actual actions you're doing um, during the game. Six samurai monsters have a range of effects that can be used when there's another six samurai monster on the field. The most well loved of these card effects includes one that destroys your opponent's cards, and one that lets a six samurai monster be destroyed in exchange for protecting another. Also, when there are two or more 6 samurai monsters on the field, you can special summon Great Shogun Shien. Great Shogun Shien is a very powerful monster that can allows you to limit the number of times your opponent can activate their spells or traps. Let's see what they have me do with that. 4,500 attack is life points is quite a lot. Alright. Use your 6 samurai monster effects to win the duel during this turn. First activate 6 samurai unite. Well, for a second there I was afraid they were just going to say just win this turn and not help you anymore than that. Each time a 6 samurai is summoned, something's going to happen. Now summon 6 samurai Uroyu. I assume this is going to let me summon other ones. By placing Bushido counters on 6 samurai support cards such as 6 samurai united, you can gain access to a range of effects. Let's give activating the effect of 6 samurai united a go. You have drawn Grandmaster of the 6 samurai. You can special summon Grandmaster of the 6 samurai as you control a 6 samurai monster. See, I can see how this deck in early days may have been very powerful because it does seem like with some luck you could potentially get 6 cards or 5 cards on the 6 samurai deck. This extra monster fields wouldn't have existed originally. Special summon Great Shogun Shien. He's not from the extras deck. Interesting. I'm surprised by that. I would have thought he would have been an extras card. Certainly would have made sense to make him an extra card, or make a variant of him that's an extra card instead. Activate Book of the Moon. Change something down to face down position. I wonder which one I want to do. Let's see. Why would I care about making anything face down? Unless there was a flip summon on this. Seems to imply that that was the right move. Yeah. Let's see. 6 samurai Iru will destroy a face down defensive monster upon attacking it as long as there is another 6 samurai monster on the field. Attack with 6 samurai Iru. So I guess the game maybe would have been upset with me. You can use the effect of 6 samurai Iru to block your opponent's monsters' effect activations and destroy them. Use your remaining move monsters to attack the opponent directly. So what was the card's effect? It didn't really tell me that as to what effect I was really avoiding by putting it face down. Yeah, whatever. Guess we move on to some real gameplay. I suppose it would make sense that if I finish this content now and it doesn't unlock anything new, then I would just be making another episode that would be half as long. So I may very well take an opportunity to make this be the last solo recording that I make for a while until I actively know there's new single player content. But otherwise, what would happen is I'd just make an hour long episode, and then I would uh, end up wasting time some other way, or just make an hour long episode, which wouldn't be too bad. I don't even know if there really is much logic to making a not making hour long episodes or making 2 hour long episodes. I've just kind of fallen into the habit of making hour long episodes. Or 2 hour long episodes is what I'm making, actually. Whereas most people on YouTube are making 10 minute videos, 20-minute videos. I just don't know how I could do that with the kind of content I make, though. I would just have to play considerably less video games, and that's not what I want to do. I want to actually get through most of my Steam library and before I die of old age. So I imagine I was supposed to flip this face down to stop effects from activating a while ago. This might be a case where I struggle with this. Look at that. 8,000 life points to 0. Just a total lack of understanding. Let's try that again. I get total, complete lack of understanding of what I was supposed to do, or just an incredibly, incredibly unlucky turn of events. Which it could just be unluckiness. Let's see. Do this. Do this. I think this does pretty much go to show, though, that these 6 samurai cards are not really that playable. I probably should have just done nothing. If I had done nothing, I could have activated that. Summon that. Yes. I guess you take the 1800 one. And then you summon these two also from this trap. And that lets that guy end up on the field. Target one face up 6 while I equip this card. Or unequip this card and special summon an attack. Monster gains 500. We do this. we'll see how that plays out now. And it's just a completely different outcome compared to the first game, just because of blind luck. That one gets destroyed, and only that one got destroyed. Interesting. Guess you go no on that and just let it attack. Let's see if this works. Yep. Again, you come off of a game like that, or the two previous games like that, and really have to ask the question is, what did you really learn? You had somebody with a random deck that you beat, and you played some cards. We also have another gate here that's fairly expensive. I'm going to be pretty low on the secondary resources. In fact, dangerously low on the green. And then we've got just the next level of difficulty on as a challenge. I will say I think these are getting better though, because there were some earlier solo player sections where I really had to put a lot of time on with the loner decks just to figure out. Here you can see the Naginata curved blade staff. Yeah. Start with this one. Then this one. All right. Okay, what does this do? So, this is not a very useful card, actually. You can have a max of 2 counters, and unless you can move the counters over. Hmm. Wait, this card's a little bit better. So I could send this to draw one more card now, or I could wait next turn. It's probably better just to attack and see what happens next turn. Okay. Play this. See. Maybe this is the right move. Hmm. Right. I think this is the move. Hmm. I guess I can't get a level 2. So maybe I should have activated this for level 1. I don't know. This one can't attack because he used his ability, I guess. Hmm. It definitely feels weird that there isn't a spell here that says if you have six samurai cards on the field, then you win the game automatically or something like that. Hmm. 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 And then that spell didn't activate, but whatever. Feels like I'm gonna win as long as I'm careful and persistent. I would have to certainly give some thought as to what samurai cards should do as an effect. Um, I don't think that there's a full thought there. Samurais tend to work individually in battle together for a common goal. In general, they seem to be the heroes of their own battles, not military type people that would work with a team. At least that's how I would look at them in my mind. So I would probably want samurai cards to be fairly strong. They get a minimal bonus by working together, but don't synergize to an extreme amount. But there's plenty of other thematic cards out there that synergize to a very extreme amount when you have a bunch of cards on the field. Let's go ahead and just destroy this one instead. Hmm. That may mean I can finally summon this. Hmm. Mm-hmm. I'll just set a card. Just because. So I've done some decent hand destruction, card destruction techniques, and one more turn I should be able to win. Hmm. Let's see. That one should destroy that without flipping it. And then the rest of them can attack. Yeah. This concept, if this was introduced very early in Yu-Gi-Oh, perfectly fine. If it was introduced today, would be incredibly boring and simplistic. I'm definitely not seeing a ton of synergy there. Let's challenge that fifth, uh, 5-star challenge. And again, this may very well just boil down to what you play or what you draw. Hmm. I think you just start with that. Hmm. Now, what can we special summon? Hmm. There might be something to this later. Hmm. Okay. That didn't work. Let's see if this works. Yep, that works really well. We may have a very quick victory here just out of dumb luck. He did something that did a couple thousand damage to himself before I even did any damage to him. And this guy's gonna attack. This will do 2100. Hmm. 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 And this guy is screwing himself over. There's just like nothing else that needs to be done. Hmm. Yeah. And so even if this guy couldn't attack, these two combined attack would have won. And that's just luckiness. That is nothing but just luckiness. Alright, well, let's finish the story. And then we're kind of early, so and if but we're not quite early enough to move on to another solo chapter. If this unlocks another solo chapter, then that means I will make one more episode. Otherwise, I'll just wait until they add more solo content. Shien had immense faith in his 6 samurai, and as proof of his trust and approval of their proficient commanding, he would gift them with powerful steeds and armors made by the finest craftsmen. The secret behind the 6 samurai's strength was not their power as individuals, but their power as a unit. Hmm. And with that common goal of taking the nation for their master, they trusted one another to have each other's back. And see, that's kind of the exact opposite of what I would expect from a samurai. Um, the phrase samurai just does not really strike me as being a team member or team players. With the other confidence they had in one another, they took victory after victory. Whatever the battle the 6 samurai joined, they were sure to win, with their mere presence giving a huge morale boost to their allies and even causing some enemy troops to flee. However, the path to unifying the nation will not be an easy one, as our warriors are about to find out. It's just gonna leave it with that. So definitely feels like at some point they plan on coming back to these stories, but they kind of haven't done that either. Like, yeah, and that did not unlock anything new. So unless doing this is required to unlock something new, which I kind of feel like it shouldn't be. This is probably the newest solo player content and its own thing. We could certainly jump in here and just see how long it is. I doubt I could do all of this in 15 minutes, but it's not particularly any longer than any of these recent editions. But let's just see if I can even think here. Um, I don't remember the story. I don't remember the story. I kind of remember the story, and it feels like there could have been more narrative from that. Hmm. Probably could have been some more story from this. Some of these clearly do just end on cliffhangers, though, and don't feel like they ever really plan to get back to it. And then you definitely have like dinosaur robots here that feel somewhat similar to gear personified robots and racing car robots, but they still, in their narrative, don't feel like they're very connected. Hmm. Yeah, it does just kind of seem like they have a penchant for leaving things as solo content. And I guess now that the red dot is gone, that indicates something too. Let's look at these featured cards and see how many we don't have. Yeah, I think it's justifiable to open 10 packs for this secret pack. It definitely would make more sense to wait to get more gems if we started on opening a bunch of secret packs that led to other secret packs that led to other secret packs, which they definitely have a tendency to try and push you in that direction. Hmm. 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 I didn't even look at those cards that I just opened. Man, I'm getting a little sleepy here. So we got some Harpy Lady Sisters cards, but the 4 pickup cards are the things we should really be focusing on. Hmm. For me personally, it really does just boil down to the synopsis. So if I wasn't trying to be cinematically appealing, I would just click the skip button and look at the percentage of what of the amount of cards I've gotten. Well, got an ultra rare. I gotta be careful. I'm gonna click the skip button on accident because there's no continue button. You'd think that there'd be like a continue button somewhere around here that you could click after the fact. Just a little arrow in the corner would be fine. And clearly this is designed for like swiping on a cell phone or a touch screen. But I don't feel like that action would be particularly fun either. Just getting friction burns on your fingers after opening 50 packs is not going to make me want to open more packs. This is ridiculous. 3 copies of the same card. I guess the odds of that are higher than you would think because there are so few cards in the pickup pool, anyways. And I still could not care less if I get foil or special versions of ultra rares. Like, it'll only matter to me, I suppose, if I could, like, turn extra foil versions of cards into dust and get more crafting points from it, but I don't even know if there is extra crafting points for getting the foil versions for or dismantling the foil versions versus dismantling the regular versions. And we can see we've now found a whole bunch of card packs. And that I think fulfills it fairly well. Like, you definitely still have ultra rares that are missing and some rares, some normals. Opening another 10 pack wouldn't be terrible. But then the risk there would be that we would run out. So let's look at these other cards, ones that we've unlocked, just to see if something would be a better offering. Yeah, it would make a lot more sense to open a 10 pack of this than it would be to open a 10 pack of the others. Where it wouldn't make too much of sense to open that one. And honestly, I just don't have enough gems to justify opening any more at all. It'd make quite a lot of sense to open a 10 pack here. Hmm. Make a decent amount of sense to open a 10 pack there. I really wish at this point I could just get all these secret packs always, because I've seen them all. I don't think there's a single new one I could possibly find or unlock. And I've proven that I've put a lot of time and effort into the game, and I've spent a lot of currency. I could open another 10 pack of these, and yeah, I just don't have the energy to do it. And I guess in about 15 days, there'll be 3 new potential selection packs to pick from. So I need to have some gems ready for that. So let's see if we can show off here a little bit. We did this one and we did this one. So can I win very quickly with my Zodiac trial decks and completely finish this story? It's going to be quickly that's going to be the problem here. Can I win? Sure. This deck is a pretty competitive top tier meta deck, and I'm every game learning better ways to implement it and use its uh, functions. But can I do it quickly? Not so sure about that one. Hmm. Hmm. So the trick here, if I haven't said it before, is to try your very best to get as many cards in the graveyard as possible and know what cards you want to send to the graveyard to activate their abilities in the graveyard to accomplish even more. Hmm. Hmm. Banish 3 or banish 1 more. There we go. Now banish 4 cards. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'll do that one. Those 4. That brings out the big guns. And this is all just being done in one turn. Banish that card. And yeah, I think that's good enough. So it's practically a one-turn kill as a deck with a lot of slow play and a lot of nonsense. Hmm. 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 Let's see. He managed to destroy my character, which is slight concern. Hmm. Hmm. Summon this. Activate this. We don't want to send these to the graveyards. We want to send this one and that one. And that didn't get me quite as high as I would want to go, but not, doesn't matter. Hmm. Alright, well, that's good enough. That's definitely gonna win. Hmm. So that completes that, giving me another card. And it's not going to be much different in this next challenge or the challenge after that. I might not win on the first try, but by the time the second or third try happens, I'm almost guaranteed that I'll win. Yeah, let's just go ahead and cancel that. Leaves one face down card. Sure. And then we'll Harpy's Feather Duster that card. Hmm. This one and this one. 16. Do I want to special summon something bigger? I guess. Hmm. Hmm. During your main phase, you can special summon from your hand. Hmm. Nope. Has to be a 4 or lower. That's a 6. So, not really much of a reason to fusion summon this or special summon this character. I'm running kind of low on cards. Hmm. Hmm. Activate this. Hmm. Activate this to special summon this. Now activate this effect to banish. I guess 3 cards is best I can do. Hmm. Hmm. Is there a real reason to tribute summon? See what this ability does. Just draws a card and sends it back. Alright. Activate this effect to get rid of that card after that. To bring that back up. That and that. Yeah. And while it is involved and this definitely is a winner of a deck, I can't sing its praises highly enough. The problem though is when I'm usually live streaming Yu-Gi-Oh, I'm barely paying attention to Yu-Gi-Oh, and I'm talking about video game news and just generally talking. So paying attention enough to do all the strategies that the deck requires is a little bit beyond my attention span. Okay. Let's activate this effect. Send this to the graveyard. Hmm. Activate this effect. Send this to the graveyard. Activate this effect. Return this to my hand. Hmm. Let's activate this effect and toss this one in the graveyard to destroy that. Summon this to the field. And this one can't do anything. Darn it. Oh, he's gonna negate it. We'll see if he can negate the effect if I send him out of the graveyard. I'll negate his negation with that card. Okay. Take the 1700. Discard 2 cards and summon something? Sure. Hmm. Now, how many monsters do I have? Not really that many. Hmm. And if I guess I could do this. Didn't quite play perfectly here. I'm really just putting all my eggs in one basket. Hmm. Hmm. Yep, that wasn't particularly great. He has 1 card, I have no card. That creates a pretty decent status quo for the next couple turns, and I only need a couple turns to win. But if he gets rid of this card, I have nothing I can play. Of course, this might help. Hmm. See if this effect lets me bring in another one. 1, 2, 3, 4. Doesn't even really matter what you pick. Hmm. Now, we don't want to activate this effect because we don't have anything to target. We don't want to activate that effect because we don't have anything to target. And that's victory. 3,000. We can get exactly 0 life points. Not that that gives you any special reward. You're not getting any reward at all actually doing this solo player stuff on top of just what they promise. So you're not getting any extra gems or legacy packs or anything like that. Um, and so now that went from clear to complete with very little fanfare. Let's hop in here and once again do it. Although I don't really see a great reason why I'm even bothering to show you this, because it is just going to be the same thing over and over again. And the Zodiac Tri Brigade deck I'm playing is a variant of what's online, of a cheap variant of a much better deck that if you have more cards you would be able to succeed even more with. Hmm. Hmm. Okay. I think if I activate this effect, I can toss this card. Then summon that. There's only 1 card in the field at the moment. So now is not the time to activate his ability. Now there's 2 cards in the graveyard. I think this trap has you summon them and just getting rid of them. It doesn't really make the most sense that you have to summon the characters. Activate special summoning this one, and then activate discarding this one. Okay, so how many characters do we have on the field now? The graveyard, 3. So I could get rid of one, or I could just attack. I think we just attack at the moment, just to see how this plays out. Here and here. Then what you'd want to do is special summon this guy. Hope this counts for 2. Yes, it does. Take that and that. Activate his ability. Activate the other guy's ability. There's basically no bad abilities in this deck. Some pointless times to activate some of them. Okay. Activate this guy's ability. Banish 4 cards. God, it doesn't matter what they are. We want to activate one of these guys' ability if at most. Maybe if I'd gone through all that rigmarole in the first place, I would have just won in one turn. 6,000, 7,000, 8,000. Yeah, I probably would have won last turn. Definitely don't want to activate that. Let's see what happens if we banish just 2 cards. Take the 1,700. That'll let me activate an ability to banish this card. Alright, well, I think we have enough there to win. Yep. And I am just kind of struck with the pointlessness of showing any more of this, so I think we'll just end here. Suffice it to say, off screen, I'll do this one and get 2 legacy pack tickets. and 200 gems. And then I'll go back and clear or complete these two and get everything the gold except for this new solo expansion. And I'll just wait till there's a new solo expansion added to the game. And otherwise, I'm caught up or caught up enough. Of course, what's weird always is that you're going to get daily quests still that tell you to win in solo, and there isn't a particularly quick way to win in solo if you're trying to save the most amount of time. Like, uh, but yeah, more solo content is done for now, I suppose. Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel is, I would say, as of this recording, approaching 6 months old, maybe closer to 4 months even. But it has been a major success for the most part. There are still some hiccups. A lot of, I would say there's way too much focus on just playing ranked duels and doing nothing else. They've yet to add any new cards, and they've had too many festivals. The dual live concept is overemphasized and a waste of time for most people. Playing with friends is totally not rewarded at all, so there's really no reason to make friends or have friends. And so they're just kind of slowly adding features and figuring out how to make the game good without falling on their sword effectively and making it a pay to win scenario that people would hate. I've not heard anybody really complain about the game. Everybody seems to be fine with it. It could very easily, though, get slow and get boring, um, because there's, since day one, not really been a different meta as far as ranked play, because they haven't added any new cards or changed the rules or anything like that. They're just effectively they're treating this game as if it's still in early access or in beta, when it wasn't in early access or beta. It was launched as a final full product. Um, it's still pretty much a nightmare trying to build the deck or look at the cards. So there's major improvements that could be fixed there. The shop is almost perfect with the exception of the secret packs. Um, there would it'd be nice if there were some extra features, certainly to improve how you are seeing the game shown to you. In fact, maybe their worst problem is their network connectivity. It's not particularly the greatest, but I can't even really complain about network connectivity being that bad, because more often than not, that ends up with me getting free victories. So it's kind of a good thing. Uh, the timer cooldown system could be overhauled. I wish it was much more like Hearthstone, where if you don't take an action for 30 seconds, it moves you, it ends your turn, and then your opponent can play, and then if you don't move in 20 seconds in the next time, then it ends your turn, and just so on and so on, giving you less and less turn to actually take an action if you're not actually playing. Um, Instead, what Yu-Gi-Oh does is, if you don't take an action in about 30 seconds, it will just have you surrender the game completely, which is a little harsh when I'm distracted and looking at other things, and just turn my head away for a minute. That seems like that's a little harsh, to lose a game and potentially lose a ranking level because you lost a game. Um, don't really have anything more to say, I guess. That's going to be it for this recording. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. If you want a friend or follow me on any social media sites, there's a whole bunch of links down below. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.